The live-action Obi Wan Kenobi web series made its debut on Memorial Day weekend on Disney+, and it kicks ass. It's a phenomenal addition to the canon of the Star Wars library. So let's talk about it. Warning, spoilers ahead. Welcome back to Comic Power. I'm your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to another episode of The Quick Flip. This is the program where I go over comic book industry news in a short period of time. Alright, let's get right into it. I run a comic book channel, and Star Wars is not from comic books from its source material. So some purists may be wondering why I'm talking about this. Hey, but let's face it, it's a sci-fi action movie series that is very comic booky. And the heroes of the story are basically warrior monks with high-tech weaponry and superpowers. And they're called the Jedi Order. The villains also have high-tech weaponry and use the same dark side of that same force. And they're called the Sith. And Marvel turned Star Wars into comic book form from the very beginning by getting the license in 1977. Disney bought the Star Wars property and gave it back to Marvel to do even more comic books, which are still outstanding. So yeah, Star Wars is a very comic booky property, so let's move on. Where it turns out that the Obi Wan Kenobi live action web series on Disney Plus is its most watched program in its short history. The previous record holder was Loki, but Obi-Wan has knocked you out the box. From your glorious purpose, O chum. The plot of the series revolves around Obi Wan Kenobi, taking place about 10 years after Revenge of the Sith and about 10 years before New Hope. The Emperor has completed a fascist takeover of the galaxy. The Jedi are nearly extinct with only a few left over. And Obi-Wan is in exile on a desert planet watching young Luke Skywalker from afar. He's keeping his head down and waiting for the order for one day when the Jedi may rise again. But for right now, he's just blending in with the local populace looking like a regular dude. But the ball gets rolling when the Inquisitors show up. These are people that have been sent by the Empire to hunt down Jedi. And a lot of them are former Jedi themselves who yield the Force. They would be the equivalent of federal marshals in our time. So the Inquisitors are looking for Jedi, but not necessarily Obi Wan Kenobi, who hasn't been seen in 10 years. But one of the Inquisitors is a woman named Reva who really wants Obi-Wan. She believes that capturing him is her glorious purpose that will help her rise through the ranks. So she goes outside of her chain of command and she hires some hooligans to go capture a young Princess Leia Organa who's just 10 years old, thinking that her capture will fish out Obi-Wan Kenobi, and she's right. Reva's boss finds out about the plan and he tells her to stand down, but she refuses and winds up killing him. And Reva reveals to Obi-Wan Kenobi that Anakin Skywalker is still alive and he's the supreme commander of the Imperial forces. This is news to Obi-Wan Kenobi, who did not know this. He left Anakin for dead after their battle in the Revenge of the Sith. So yes, Lord Darth Vader does appear in this web series. And yes, he will be voiced by the original voice actor James Earl Jones. The show is scheduled to be a 6-episode web series, and at the time I make this video, we're up to 3 episodes, and I tell you, this is an A+ web series. You have to see this. Ewan Mcgregor is reprising this role that he played in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. So you may be a casual Star Wars fan, and you really couldn't get into the Mandolrian other than the novelty of Baby Yoda, or you couldn't get into Boba Fett at all, then Obi-Wan Kenobi is for you because it's one of the main known Star Wars characters that's a household name. So Ewan McGregor is playing a younger version of Obi-Wan, who was played by Alec Guinness in the first original Star Wars. So if the events of Obi-Wan right now are taking place about 10 years before New Hope, then Obi-Wan's had a real rough life because he really aged really quickly. I think a lot of casual fans that like the idea of Star Wars are confused about the timeline, and this poster does a great job of breaking down exactly when these events take place in terms of sequence to each other to eliminate some of the confusion. So I'm going to zoom in on some of this. So the first things you should be watching in terms of timeline are the prequels, which are Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. And we've already been through this a million times about the prequels. They're poorly written. Jar Jar Binks is a abomination. And just what the heck is a midichlorian? This is all very stupid stuff. No one around George Lucas had the authority to tell him, hey dude, this isn't very good. But it was necessary to tell how the Jedi Order collapsed, how Palpatine seized power and corrupted young Anakin Skywalker, and how the galaxy came under fascist rule, and the origins of Luke and Leia, and an explanation of how they got where they were at New Hope. And when you expand the map, this is what you see. Obi-Wan Kenobi is taking place around the same time as the Han Solo origin film, where you have a younger actor playing Han Solo's character. His dealings with a young Lando, played by Donald Glover, how he met Chewie, and all that stuff. It's not a very good movie, just skip it. And then there's a Cassian Andor project. This is a character that's linked to Rogue One. So without getting too wordy or overcomplicated, there's basically a rebellion going on against the Empire, so this is the setup for New Hope. So basically, in a nutshell, there are about 20 years between Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars New Hope, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Solo, Cassian Andor, Star Wars Rebels, and Rogue One explains what happens in those 20 years. I'm still thinking about how Darth Vader blew up a whole planet with the Death Star just to teach his daughter a lesson. Man, that's hardcore. So, Obi Wan Kenobi, definitely a must-see. New episodes come out every Wednesday. So we're about 10 years after Sith and about 10 years before New Hope. It's absolutely A+ television that you must be watching. The actress that's playing Inquisitor Reva is Moses Ingram, and she's just still in the show because she's an awesome villain. This is the first time I've ever heard of a woman being named Moses, but that's what her parents named her, I guess, and that's definitely different. She kind of reminds me of a young Tachina Arnold. That's the actress that played Pam and Martin. Do you see a resemblance, or is it just me? And unfortunately, there's been some controversy that's been swirling around Miss Ingram. Has nothing to do with her. It's not her fault. She's actually the victim of this because she's been the target of some internet bullying and sexism and racism. I get it. She's playing a villain. She's playing a character that makes you want to hate that character. But listen up, you dummies. It's fictional. This is all fiction. This is entertainment. If you hate her character, that's fine. The character is fictional. If you hate her performance, you can grade her on a level of her performance itself. But there's been an unnecessarily big wave against her for a lot of toxic stuff aimed at her based on her gender or race. It's 2022. Are we still talking about this stuff? Are we still having these conversations? I don't think a lot of people may know the difference between fair criticism and hate speech. So Disney released this statement saying, "We are proud to welcome Moses Ingram to the Star Wars family and excited for Reva's story to unfold. If anyone tends to make her feel in any way unwelcome, we only have one thing to say. We resist." Ewan McGregor, the lead star, who is also an executive producer on the series, has released a statement saying, "It seems that some of the fan base has decided to attack Moses online, sending the most horrendous racist DM. She's a brilliant actor and a brilliant woman, and she's absolutely amazing in this series. She brings so much to the series and brings so much to the franchise. It just sickened me to my stomach to hear that this has been happening." And he continues, "We love Moses, and if you're sending her bullying messages, you're no Star Wars fan in my mind. There's no place for racism in this world. I totally stand with Moses." Ewan McGregor, you're not just a hero in this fiction, but you're a hero in real life. You're a real stand-up guy, and I appreciate it. The racism doesn't make any sense on any level anyway. It's not like you've never seen black people in Star Wars before. Billy D. Williams played Lando Calrissian, first showing up in The Empire Strikes Back. Sam Jackson plays Master Mace Windu, one of the Jedi, showing up in the prequels. And of course, you have Finn, who shows up in episodes 7, 8, and 9. And as I mentioned before, Darth Vader is voiced by a black man, James Earl Jones. The intolerant people are not the majority. They're just a loudmouth minority. They must be isolated that their crap is unwanted. In saying that, there's a new episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi every Wednesday on Disney+. Be there. And now I want to direct you to the community page at the main homepage of Comic Power. Within this is something that I call Wicked Wednesday, which is my new comic day report. For those who didn't know, your local comic book store gets new comic shipments every Wednesday. And what I had been doing and will continue to do is to give you a new report on what's coming up for that Wednesday, the previous Monday or Tuesday. And I'll give you the pick of the week in advance of what I think is the best release that week. I also will review 4 other runner-ups which I think are also great. These are books that are released through your traditional distributors like Diamond. So it won't just be the big 2, Marvel and DC, but I include other indies such as Dark Horse, Image Comics, etc. I used to do videos specifically for Wicked Wednesday, but I only have so much time to make videos, so I decided to put it all in the community tab now. I think it's more interactive anyway because I do a follow-up poll where you can vote on what you think is the best comic release that week. So thank you for your continued support of Comic Power. I'm always looking for ways to make it better. You know the drill. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, click on the bell for notifications so you know when new videos come out, and share these videos on social media so others learn about the Comic Power channel. While you're here, learn more about Kamala Khan, aka the new Miss Marvel. Her new web series comes out on Disney Plus on June 8th, 2022. 2022 is also the 50th anniversary of Luke Cage, the first black superhero to headline his own title. So check out the video I did of him, which explains his origin and his impact culturally. Thank you for watching Comic Power. See you next time.